Okay, we're working? Yes, please? Tell me I'm working. Tell me I'm working. Woo! I'm still getting low speeds listed, so hopefully there's not a lot of lag here today. Totally frustrated. I'm already seeing my thing spinning. I'm want to kill some internet people. Oh my gosh. Come on. Gotta be kidding me. This is just too weird. My internet's been wonderful from this main computer for ages, and now all of a sudden this last week or so it's been like, oh, that speed you had, it's just gone. And we did some stuff yesterday and it said, oh, it's great again now. And then again, I checked it here just now, just before starting. It's like, oh no, you're under 10 megabytes a second again when you're supposed to have like 40. Like, you know, you're supposed to be super speeded, but you're like, nothing. Good to see you in the garden, blessings. Thanks for showing up. I'm just really annoyed by this whole thing right now, so I'm certainly hoping that it's not gonna just, you know, completely die here, so let's see what happens though. We're gonna just give this a shot and see if we can make it work, you know. Alright, so we need to talk about what's going on with the garden, right? Sound is real low, hard to hear. Okay, turn that up a little bit. Is that better? I turned my mic way down because I was noticing when I was watching the sound back that it was like peaking and I was sounding very like so I was like, okay, I need to turn my mic down. And apparently I turned it down too much. So let me know if it sounds scratchy at all. I don't want to turn it, I want to have that sweet spot. Don't want to be too low, but I want you to be able to, you know, hear me and everything. So, okay. So, the garden. We had a really nice hot patch here in the UK, which, you know, the plants loved. They totally loved it out here. They were doing much, much better because of it. The thing that they weren't doing good because of was all the snails and slugs. Man, where have they been eating my stuff alive. I'm going to show you the video in a minute here. But they are the main culprit on my bugs, as far as bugs are concerned, on my plants right now. And I do have a little bit of problem with the ones that are up here. Somehow an aphid snuck upstairs here. And I think I got rid of most of them. But the lemon basil here was the first one to have them. And you can see like this one's still a little bit ugly because of them. And I cut this guy back quite a bit and used a bunch of it to help get rid, you know, to wash it off and get rid of some of the aphids. But there's still some, I think, hiding in here. I've gotten most of them off there, and sometimes I just go back and try and just rub them off. And I sprayed them down a couple different times with like soap and water, with hydrogen peroxide, different things like that. But he ended up spreading to all the guys here. But look at this. I mean, the red Reuben Basil here is looking awesome. Massive. It's super big. I gotta harvest this guy back and use some of it as well. I'm trying to see if I can get a good look and see if there's any more of these aphids on here or not. They're really small ones. But this guy was looking really rough. He's much better than the one outside, though. I planted another round of red Reuben Basil outside, and I think just the hot weather really damaged him. That or some other bugs got to him, because he's got some brown leaves that look like they've just been burnt and such. Yeah, if I look really close on like these leaves like this one, you can see there's like some holes from where the bugs have been eating on it. I don't know if that shows up on the screen a little bit or not. Doesn't get a good focus, does it? Anyways, I think I've done a pretty good job about getting all the little bugs off of here. I need to keep after it though and keep spraying them down, because you can just see certain leaves that have been terrorized by the bugs. This one's been ripped off slightly. But overall, he's been growing great. Same thing, here's the Italian sweet basil, the Osmum basilicum. I think this one can really see some of them on there still, or some of the spots left by them. Try and get the light in there properly. Get the light over here so you can see it better. Give that a rub and see if they all disappear. But yeah, you can see how these leaves look a little bit yellow and ugly. That's mainly from the bugs. You can see how these, like, this one's been eaten and it's partly ripped. I just need to cut these all back now. And in fact, I could probably cut this whole thing off because he's been so damaged. I've planted a couple more anyways. You know, I planted a brand new Italian basil in a big pot. So I have a backup for him anyhow, and then he's due to be used. And it's better to use him before, you know, rather than let them get damaged anymore. Because once those leaves get yellow like that, they kind of lose all of their flavor and they're not very good anymore. Hi, Rachel B. Woohoo! Hi, Ecocentric Homestead. Dude, Ecocentric Homestead, I'm kind of mad at you. You won the 4K giveaway contest and you never contacted me, so I had to give your gift away to somebody else, which was Rachel B. So Rachel's happy that you weren't here. But I'm like, dude, you won. You could have had some free stuff. Where were you? Come on, dude. Hi, GLG. Good to see you. Do I need to crank up the sound some more? Is it sounding okay? I try to make sure it's in good spot now, so. Yeah, that's right. That's what happens, Ecocentric Homestead, when you miss the drawing giveaway. And I gave people lots of time. I gave you like at least 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks before I finally said, okay, I'm gonna give this away to some other people. But you weren't the only one. There was like a whole slew of people. It's happened twice in a row now for the 3K giveaway and the 4K giveaway. All of a sudden, I'm just like, what is going on that people don't want to accept their gifts? And I'm giving some good quality stuff away here, man. I gave Husky and Wolf Dog ended up getting the gift card. He was like the second backup, and everybody in the top 4 didn't contact me. So he ended up getting the gift card. Amazon gift card. Baby, could have been yours. Went elsewhere. That's free money. That's why you have to be like, oh, I'm entering a contest, and yes, I'm following through and taking my money. That's right. You can win on this channel. It's just that easy. So here's the Thai basil. Looking magnificent. He's also had some problems with the bugs. You can see, especially here at the bottom, some of these yellow leaves here. This one's still looking like he's got some on there. In fact, I just want to pop that one off here because I can't really eat that anyways. You can see all those little spots on there. Ugly. Try and get you a good look at it. Yeah, you can see how it looks there. But yeah, in the Garden of Blessings, you saw his dog collar that he bought because of that. Yeah, they got the wonderful, beautiful dog collar with it. Yeah, I missed that video. I have to go back and check it out. Thank you, in the Garden of Blessings. Yeah, like not only at 4K, we're now at 4.4K. Woohoo! We're at 4,410 people. Very quickly moving on up to that 5K goal. Yeah, 5K, baby. So if you got some friends who haven't heard about me yet, let them know. Share my videos. Contact some people. Tell them, hey, Eccentric Nature, great channel. Go watch them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think the hydrogen peroxide did a pretty good job. I'm mostly just seeing the after effects on here of what's happened with them. There's a couple little ones on here still towards the top. But this all needs to be, cut off anyways, because as you can see, he's starting to flower. And you can still eat all of that. But I do need to cut him back if I want him to continue growing. He's in such a small pot anyways. He's not going to grow much more than this if I don't cut him back. So, definitely got to do some harvesting on this guy soon. Wow. Get rid of those bugs. It's one of the easiest ways if you want to get rid of the bugs. Just go in there and squash the suckers. Then clean your hands afterwards. Let's go up to the Antherium. Monster Antherium. Woo! That's a big leaf right there. See that? That is a big leaf. Super monster leaf. I'm so happy about that. I did up-pot it slightly. It's not a huge pot, but it was in a much smaller pot that was like in a mid-range between these two guys here. Pretty, pretty small pot for the size of this plant. So I up-potted him slightly, and I definitely think he's been responding well to it. I see some new flower shoots coming up because these flowers that are on here, you can see them getting slightly brown. The tip is turning brown, which means this one's about to die. I pulled one off just the other day. Peace Lily family? They are very similar. Originally, when I got my last Antherium, I thought it was a Peace Lily, but actually it is an Antherium, just like this one. This is just a different type of Antherium. I can't remember if Peace Lilies and Antheriums are in the actual same family or not. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they're at least in the same genus, because they are very similar. They definitely look almost, you could look at one and think, oh, that's a Peace Lily, and people would say, probably you're right. But yeah, that's an Antherium up there. But we need to go on to the main part of the video. Yeah. Hello, Dan. Good to see ya. Woohoo. Anybody else I missed that's in the house? Do, 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 do. The leaves look heavier and glossy. Yeah. Especially on the red ones, you can tell a bit more than the white ones. It's a little bit more obvious, I think. So let's crank this puppy up. We are going to show you my compiled video of the week for my garden as it stands. So we're going to start outside in the front garden. And this is what it looks like right now. You can see again the snails and stuff have had a little bit of their way with them, but not too bad. All of the bluebells are gone now. I could show on the last video I got rid of most of them, but you can see here these Chinese lanterns. There's a lot of them there, and I got that rose bush in the back. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get a lot of good pictures of the rose because I did get this one. Look how cute he is. Look at that little fly on there. He was actually kind of taking a nap and was like just hanging there for a long time. But those top two roses above him are already gone. This one's about to open up. But they just go so fast that most of these roses like were there, and then all of a sudden we get these torrential rains and they're gone in like a day. So it's like by the time I see them once walking out and going, oh, I should get a video of those. And if I don't do it at the moment, the next time I go to get it, they're gone. So I have to go very quickly and get those videos immediately if I don't. But here, look, these Chinese lanterns, the longer they stay on, they're going to eventually, kind of like jalapenos, they're going to turn more of an orange-red color. And they'll develop. But they're looking really good so far, and I got a ton of them. There's more than there were when we moved in here last year. So let's move on. Woo! Platycodon looking beautiful. This is my balloon flower. I love this guy. I've had him for like 5 years now. He's a perennial. He keeps blooming like this. I love these blooms. And look at this, baby. This is my wild chamomile. In fact, he's at the point where he needs to be harvested. Because look at that. I've already lost a bunch of stuff off these top couple ones. And the leaves are already, getting turned. So yeah, you know what? Get ready. Here it comes. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. We're gonna harvest. Chicka-boom. How many times did I get? Bam! There it is. Woo! Harvest. So I'm gonna have myself some chamomile tea, baby. Fresh chamomile tea coming up. Actually, I still have it on the counter, so I'm gonna have that tonight, I think. That's the whole point of having these plants, is I wanted to make some fresh chamomile tea. So pretty though. But here we go. Let's move on. Ah! Bad camera work. Look out. Ah! My God. Help me. Ah! So this is where Mrs. Amy the Amaryllis is at now. her leaves are getting much bigger, so I'm very happy about that. I was a little scared when her leaves weren't getting very big for a while there. I'm thinking just like in this last move and everything, she got traumatized and didn't want to flower. Here's the chives. I think I just got a bad batch of seeds because the chives, this is the third time I've tried to plant them and I didn't get anything. So I've replanted that and put some basil in there and we'll see how that works. But look at this guy. My cilantro / coriander is looking massive. Those top stems are just huge. We're going to have some of this week because it needs to be harvested. It is just so big. Look at those top leaves. They are huge and I love it. This is like one of the biggest cilantros I've ever had for the stalks are concerned. They're huge. Moving into the other room, we've got the Tulsi Basil. I harvested a little bit of this off, but more... He's been battling all of these. You see all these flies, these gnats? I put a couple of different strips out there, and man, he's got a ton of gnats on there. The oregano, looking big. He's got a couple of ugly leaves, but for the most part, looking really good. I've been harvesting him off and on and just, having him with snacks. I'm making some spaghetti this week. I might use some of it for that. I replanted the dill. The dill is looking great again. My dill always seems to turn out great. Look how he's turning towards the sun. Catmint. Oh, so sad. Catmint. Poor Tolkien passed away, of course, for those of you who don't know. So, catmint's not getting used right now. Here's the cinnamon basil. And the cinnamon basil I've harvested a couple times, you can tell on the top there. The leaves are looking really good for the most part. Get you a nice close-up. Look at that structure. Looking beautiful. But I also double planted one of these outside. And I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Moving into the kitchen, the Spanish sage. This is where it actually was last month. Remember this when you look at it. This is where it was. And now this is where it is now. Actually, that's where the Tarragon was too. But here we are. The cilantro. This is the one that I mentioned last time I needed to replant. And you'll see that it's already started sprouting up some stuff. So this is all the before shots. Here is the after shots. This is the rosemary where it's at. There's the cilantro replanted and it's got a couple shoots already. Because it only gave me a couple, I put a couple new seeds in after I filmed this. So next month, this guy's probably going to look like the one in the front. Tarragon is just outgrowing this pot. Look at all that tarragon. So much of it. It is getting crazy. I need to harvest some of this and use some of it as well again. I've been actually harvesting quite a bit of it, but it just keeps growing. It's magnificent. It is a huge, huge baby. I'm loving it. My moisture meter, I've just been leaving in this one. Look at the sage. It's also doubled in size as well. And the leaves, I think, are looking even better than last time as well. A couple little ugly ones way in the bottom, but for the most part, he's looking fantastic too. And it tastes great. I really love this sage. It tastes really wonderful. Woo! Outside, here are my little hanging plants. This is where they were last month. Again, a little preview. Preview last month. This is where the dill was. And so all the hanging planters actually did really well, but then in the heat wave, they got a little bit ugly. So you can see here, this is mainly damage, I think, from the rains that came. We had some really heavy rains, and when that happens, you can get some bruising like that. I did have a little bit of bug problems. I did notice some little snails trying to get up here on these guys as well. So you can see a little bit of damage from that, but I think a lot of that black bruising is actually not a disease. It's actually from the heavy rain we had. Down here is the Wildflower Planter. It looks kind of lame. I'm really about over it. I think I'm about ready to just, get rid of this and put some vegetables in here. I think this is the one plant that I'm waiting to see what the flowers turn out to be. He's got these little pink flowers that are starting to come out. And I want to see what they turn into. But the rest of them, I'm like, not that excited about. Here we go. Here is the red Reuben one outside. Now, I was talking about this earlier. And you can see how these leaves are really brown at the edges. And so I was like, wondering if this one actually got diseased, or if it was just because of the extreme heat that it got damaged. So you're gonna have to let me know what your thoughts are on this. because I was not exactly sure. I was going to do a little bit more research to see what it is officially causing the problem there. Yeah. Ecocentric lantern has a Chinese lantern too. Here's the dill. It looks thin mainly because I harvested the heck out of this and just ate a bunch of it. That this is actually after I harvested it, and these are all the stalks where they look mighty thin at the moment, but that's just because I took all the good stuff off of it. Okay, here is the sad world of the squash and pumpkins, where they were looking good, but then the slugs and snails really came after them. And you can see how that one leaf is almost completely eaten off there. There was another leaf down there that got eaten off completely. But now that I've done some major work on these guys, and believe me, I have done lots of work to get rid of these snails and slugs. These guys have started growing again. They had almost looked like they were about to die. In fact, look at that. Look how they're getting those little buds in there, and that's a really good sign. You can see all those little scapes growing too. I love it. But you see, I put some eggshells in there well to help fend them off. But I actually used a little bit of snug and snail killer because I was just over them. You can see all that. There's one of those slugs. You're dead now, sucker. You're dead. Out of my garden. You don't belong in here. Urgh. You see how that's all the slug killer. I made sure not to put it in the planters themselves. I kind of just laced it around the bottom areas and around the entrance gate to get rid of them. Because here too, they were getting the basil. You can see how it is actually growing again. I'm going to pause here for a second because I need to talk a little bit about this. But you can see it still looks ugly. All right? But that's because that before shot you just saw a couple seconds ago. There's the before shot. You can see they were already getting quite damaged by the snails and slugs at that point. And all this extra protection I put in there wasn't stopping them. Put all these bits in there. Put all the different kinds of protection. I got coffee grounds. I put garlic around. I got some diatomaceous earth in there. I got all kinds of different stuff, and it just wasn't stopping them. So I finally did all this other stuff and actually went out for a couple different nights and hand-picked all the snugs and snails and tossed them out of my area, and then laid down all this slug killer so they wouldn't come back in. And now even the basil is recovering, so I'm very happy about that. I even put a little yellow strip out there to get some of the flies. But you can see here the squash. This is the one surviving squash. It killed off all the other three. But this one is still doing good, and he's starting to grow again. Got a little bug on there. But I planted a couple new ones, and both of them are coming out, which is great. Hi, Husky and Wolf Dog. Good to see you. Yes, I have heard of copper tape. I didn't resort to that. That's one of the things I'm looking at doing next, and so I don't have to resort to slug and snail killer. But I just got tired of them and just went for it. Check this out, baby. Here is my propagated garlic, and oh my gosh, it is looking fantastic. Look at all three of those scapes going kaboom. Those stalks are getting huge, and I'm gonna have some garlic bulbs soon. Yes, I have planted garlic. I am so happy about this. It's growing. The garlic is growing, and the cornflower is just about done. Look at all these flowers. They're all dead. I got a couple that are left there at the bottom, but I mean, they actually go so fast that it's a tough thing. It's like at one point I wanted to harvest them for tea, but at the other point I was just like enjoying looking at them, and then I just let them all die, unfortunately. So they're gone. And at the bottom here, he's got a few extra weeds coming in. Not necessarily weeds, just different plants that love taking over. So here is the rosemary, looking kind of ugly. If you know, to tell you the truth, this is the one that was left me, and he has just not fared well. He's had tons of little flies in there, and I think the slugs and snails have kind of gone after him a little bit as well. But I'm thinking I need to put a little yellow strip there. You can see there is some new growth at the top there, so that I'm very happy about that. I did some harvesting off this to see if I can encourage some new growth, and it does look like he is having some. So I think as much as anything, I just need to keep doing that and encouraging the new growth, because the way we got it from people was not as good. But this planter here, I replanted it with some chamomile because the one up front was just not enough. I want lots of chamomile, so I got this slightly bigger planter that I put some chamomile in there. The sage, he's another one that the slugs and snails were going after, so he's still got some ugly leaves, and the little bitty flies were going after him as well. So my next step for him is to put a little yellow strip in there with him as well, because those yellow strips have been working phenomenally for me. You can see one little fly hiding in there. Get rid of him. Get him. But yeah, I think I'm going to put that little strip out there and see if that can take care of the rest of the flies, because I did put some little vinegar pots out, and the one next to this plant hasn't been doing as well as the one that's next to the herbs, which are coming up. But you can see some good growth up top. A lot of the leaves still looking ugly, but the sunflower is getting ready to open. I'm actually looking outside today. I see more yellow coming into the flowers, so it's definitely getting close. That flower is about to open. Yeehaw! But you can see, look at all those leaves. Those top ones are looking good again now because they've been regrowing. But those bottom ones, he just completely terrorized. So, moving on to the lily. I could have sworn I had some footage of this, but I don't. Those other two bulbs, I could have sworn I took some video of it. If I did, I lost it, or it's just got misplaced, because unfortunately, that flower is now gone. The other two flowers are now gone, and it's just this. That's all that's left. It's at the point now where I'm just letting it harvest some light until I'm getting it ready for next season. Here's another wildflower planter. It's all growing really big. It does still some remnant problems from all the bugs, but for the most part, he's looking really good. Looks like he's got some blooms ready to come out. So here's the peppermint from 2 months ago. This is the peppermint from last month. Getting big and recovering. Here is where it's at now. Look at that monster peppermint. And it's almost 2 feet tall, baby. Over a half a meter tall peppermint. I have got monster peppermint, and I am so happy about that. Oh yeah. Who wants some peppermint? I love the peppermint. Again, a lot of the lower leaves, you can tell lots of damage from the bugs. But I'm hoping as I start harvesting this and he keeps growing, it won't come back because I've gotten rid of all the slugs and snails now. And as long as I keep on top of them, I think all this damage is just going to start disappearing. So the Ceanthus, he's definitely past his season. Looking ugly. Here's the back herb garden. And the marjoram, I think more than any of the others, the slugs really went, the snails really went to town on him. You can see all those dead stalks there. But he's got lots of new growth coming in. You can see a bunch of new stalks ready to come out. So he's definitely is recovering. I'm very happy about that. Same problem here with the chocolate mint. They loved this chocolate mint. You can see over here, I'm turning it around, this one stalk, it's gone. I might as well cut that down. There's one little regrowth coming out, 2 little regrowths, but they ate this stalk. They ate the whole freaking thing. And you can still see lots of damage from it. Same thing here. Look at all the bottom area there. All the leaves are gone from the slugs and snails eating that. They totally damaged this guy. But lots of new growth coming in. So it's all recovering. Unfortunately, in the Garden of Blessings, I haven't had many birds recently. It's been, off and on. A lot of hit and miss. The thyme has had lots of problems with little flies. But I put in like I said, the distilled vinegar along with some apple in there and some sugar, and it's really went to town and got a lot of the flies, I think. I just need to replenish that and make it happy again. Unfortunately, I didn't get a shot of that for this video. It's on the next shelf down. I totally forgot to get a shot of that. It's where one of my replanted basils is at, but you can see a lot of the damage there. Again, I just need to harvest this guy and cut him back. here's my 2 aloes. And you wouldn't know it, but the one on the left is the keiki that I pulled off of the one on the right. He's actually a regrowth of that one. The one on the right is just kind of dying now. And he's just been giving me keikis to grow new ones, essentially. But I gotta look up some more uses of aloe because I've just been letting it get ugly. And because I haven't been having a need for aloe lately. Here's one of my spider guardians. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a good view of him. The camera just wouldn't really focus on him. But exciting new things happening with the orchids. Ollie has got a new stem coming out already. Brand new stem. And I think this is the first time since I've had him in 8 years that he's had a new stem coming out. And the old one still has flowers on it. Look at that. Oh my gosh. 4 flowers still. There's a couple that are very veiny, and you can tell very soon I'm going to lose these flowers. That one, you can see the green on the stalk. They're still going to be there for a while. So they're not dead yet. But the top one and the bottom one, you can look at them, and you can see starting to get very yellow and red. And you can definitely see the structure on these two is much better. It's not nearly as veiny, but look in there. You can see in the petals how veiny it's getting. That means it's getting very close to dying. So down here, you can see this leaf is looking a little bit ugly. It's also looking really veiny. You can see those tendrils really starting to show up more than on the other leaves, where you can see the structure is much different on these. That means that that leaf, again, is starting to slowly die, which is totally is absolutely expected. But here's the other stalk that I cut off because nothing ever happened with it. So moving over to Ginny. She is looking great. That's her new leaf coming out. Really doing well. Another leaf that's going to go away soon. But you can see a lot of the older ones in there. But I've got a bunch of new stalk roots coming out. And so she's obviously very healthy. There's a brand new nub in there as well. So there's like at least 4 or 5 new ones that are growing really beautifully. In the bottom here, I'm a little distressed by this. You know, I don't want to repot, but I really don't like the look of that. I mean, I've just watered this, so it looks a little bit slimy and gookier. But, you know, there it is. That is it. Woo! That's my video of the garden. And there you go. So, yeah, I mean, that last one, on Ginny, I don't know. I always get a little bit tentative when it comes to repotting because after the last one, I don't want to just, repot every year. And I don't want to, repot too early when they still have room in them and distress it. So it isn't going to do as well. But at the same time, you can just, that damage is just damage from the last repot because it was distressed from that last repot. So what I am doing as I go along is as I can see those dead roots coming out, I'm just kind of cutting them off and as I can pulling them out when I know that they are just dead and all they're going to do is just rot and cause damage to the plant. So there's nothing wrong with, if you're not repotting, just cutting some of those suckers off. If you know they're dead and you know they're not going to come back and all they're going to do possibly to the plant is create a fungus or a disease, it's better just to get them out of there. Even if you don't do a repot and, do your best to just pull them out because otherwise it's just going to damage the plant. So, yeah, I'm very happy with how everything's looking overall. As I said, it's been the slug battle, the battle of the evil slugs and snails. And I think I'm very happy now with where I've gotten to with them. I do think I still want to try the copper wire thing because I'd rather not just kill them outright. I'm very much a pacifist in that way, but when it comes down to it, if I have to choose over the lives of the snails compared to the lives of my plants, I'm choosing the plants. So, let me catch up on some of the comments here really quick. Husky and Wolf Dog says they got Phelan a new color as well so they wouldn't get jealous. That's great. But yeah, I have been thinking about putting the copper wire around, and I can't remember if it's Ecocentric or someone else had mentioned the idea of just doing a live wire around them as well, where you just take a 9-volt battery and you run a wire around from the battery and back to the battery. Yeah, I've been using eggshells. The beer trap is the next thing I've been contemplating as well, because that might actually work for the flies too, I think. You know, any of those kind of things like that with the apple cider and the beer. I think I haven't heard people use that as much for the flies, but you know, the flies like any of those things that are like that. With the I mean, I think just the sugar and water and soap mix can work for when if you're trying to get rid of them. The eggshells is supposed to keep them back, but it doesn't always work. I put those eggshells out before I started getting rid of them, and they would still go up the stalks, which means they would still go over those eggshells. So it's not a given. Yes, it can work with a lot of them, but it's not a 100% thing. So yeah, the beer trap can be very gross, GLG. I think you're very right about that. I think that's why I've been like, yeah, I'm going to stay away from that. Ecocentric Homestead, yeah. I have been using those slug pellets, and that has been the thing that has finally kept them away. I had to go in at around 10 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. For a couple nights in a row for like a week, where if not every night, I was going out every other night. But for like a week and a half, I was going out, picking up every slug and snail I found that was on the plants and on the ground, and taking them outside the garden and putting them somewhere else. And then I started putting those pellets around, and eventually, yeah, I noticed that they just were not getting back on the plants, and I noticed that the pellets were keeping them back or just killing them, and they weren't making it back into the garden again. So, yeah, it definitely kept them. It's gotten everything much happier now. I can see the growth that is happening very easily, because I've stopped those slugs and snails. I mean, yes, I've had some problems with some other little flies as well, but the damage was like 90% slugs and snails. It's been a non-stop battle with them, and I'm very glad I figured out, thanks to you guys as well, for giving me lots of these suggestions on things to try. But I did some, my own research and listened to you guys, and between all of that, everything out there is starting to look very good, and I'm very happy about that. Ooh, JLG finally got a yellow squash this year. Now you're fighting squash bugs too. Oh, great. Oh, come on. Why the bugs? Can't they just leave us alone? But anyways, yeah, that's everything. So unless you have any other questions, I'm trying to do some, what's the word? I just watched a video, and I'm totally buzzing it. My head is completely gone right now for some reason. The concurrent planting. I'm trying to do some of that. And I was just watching one of the videos today. In fact, I might be able to find it here really quick. On my history. Do I have a history thing here for me? Where's my history settings? Oh well. Not too easy to find. I was watching a video earlier today, and it'll come back to me, by one of the homesteady channels talking about a particular kind of planting where you just keep replanting plants in order so you have a constant supply of them. There's a specific name for it. I'm buzzing it right now. Let me know if you know what it is. Interesting. In the Garden of Blessing says it's heard that watering in the morning, not in the evening, helps keeping some slugs back. Succession planting. There it is. Ecocentric Homestead got it. Yes, succession planting. And I've been doing that with the cilantro. So like you saw in the video, I have the one that's just barely started growing, because I planted that about 3-4 weeks after I planted the one that's in the front window. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to keep growing them over and over again, because we use coriander or cilantro all the time. So I'm trying. this is the first time I've actually done it this way. Usually I would just plant one, use it, then start a new one. But this time I'm trying to just keep a couple planted at the same time so I can just have a constant supply of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen lots of people do that whole mesh barrier thing. I don't really have the... I guess if I really have to, I'll do that. I don't really, want to take the effort to do that. If I'm forced to, I will. But that's a lot of DIY stuff that I'm generally not as good at. But I suppose if I have to, I'll create a whole little cage for them. Because I've seen some really cool ones where people actually create either some wooden frames and then put like a whole mesh thing over them to protect them, kind of like doing a greenhouse thing. But yeah, I've seen complete, mesh enclosures for plants like that people have done that work really good to keep bugs out. But yeah, I mean, so far what I've done has been working, and I'm very happy about that. So I'm going to just keep that up. And that's the thing I've learned this year about outdoor planting compared to indoor planting. Yes, I still have to constantly be on the lookout for aphids and gnats on the indoors plants, because when you walk in from the outside, invariably, or when you leave the door open, one's going to sneak in, and eventually, no matter what, somehow you get them on your plants. Or that, we put these little mesh guards up here on our windows to prevent more bugs from coming in. But still, they find a way. They find a way to get all the way here upstairs somehow. Like all the ones downstairs I haven't had aphid problems with, but these ones upstairs, somehow an aphid got on here and propagated himself to all four of my little basil plants over here. So, yeah. You just have to constantly really keep a close eye on your plants. And even though they look good, every now and then you just have to grab them and be like, okay, is there anything on there? Get a really good close look underneath the plant, because that's where they like to hide. Always get a really good close look underneath the leaves, because that's where they really like to hide. Sometimes they like hiding on the stems, so really look on the stems as well. But yeah, those bugs can just sneak in. And sometimes every now and then, just to be safe, I treat the soil with, that neem oil, treat the soil with some hydrogen peroxide, treat the soil with some diatomous earth, whatever you need to do, but always be doing something to protect your plants, because the bugs will find a way. It's just like nature. You pave a parking lot, and if you leave it alone, it's going to get overgrown by green eventually. So, yeah, I agree. It's eco-centric homestead. Yeah, the garden kind of loses its appeal once you start putting lots of crazy barriers on there. It's not as pretty when you can't just look at your beautiful plants. And, yeah. And the Garden and Blessing says, as long as ants don't... What? What are we talking about with the ants? I do have ants that are around as well. I probably should be worried about them too. But I haven't been as diligent about trying to get rid of the ants. Have people not to block the pollinators. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so more about the pollinators with the ants, huh? Yeah, because I haven't seen the ants actually getting on any of my herbs or plants so much, so I haven't been too worried about the fact that I have a few ants around. But yeah, if they're more worried about the flowers, I guess I'll have to keep a closer eye on the flowers and make sure the ants aren't going after them. But so far, yeah, I haven't had any problems with those guys so much as I've had with the other ones. But yeah, unless you guys have any... Oh, what I missed here? There's something else I missed here. In the Garden Blessings, I just stopped planting lettuce in the spring because the slugs would invade. Yep. Yep. So yeah, I think there's everybody each their own. Lots of people have different ways of doing things, and it's just a matter of what you're comfortable with doing. Personally, I'm happy just going out. I went out and checked again last night, and I did find some more slugs and snails, but it was more that they were on the outside perimeter where I had put that little barrier of pellets, and they were out there, and I just grabbed them outside to, so they didn't actually get killed by the pellets once I found them. but I didn't find any in the interior yard or on the plants at all. So that's good. Oh, okay. Yeah. So GLG says ants aren't so much a problem. It's that the fact that these covers can block the pollinators that need to get to the plants. Okay. Ooh, and sparrows ate all the ants in your garden. I kind of want, hey, if the sparrows want to come back and have some, they're welcome to. I got ants here for them. Yeah, I haven't had many birds here lately. It's been very hit and miss, but then again, that's to be expected. Birds fly and go in cycles in places, and I was just very fortunate with my last place that I basically had a family of house sparrows that had a consistent nest and base that was really close to my house, and so every day they would come to my feeders as part of their routine. And yeah, but here there's a lot more area, there's a lot more feeders I'm sure they can go to, there's a lot more other things around with the river that they have options they can go to. So yeah, it's not surprising that I haven't had as much bird action, and I think it's a matter of them just getting used to the feeders being here as well. It takes a long time for that to happen. I can't just be, ooh, immediately get birds, It's a little bit harder for that to happen. So your neighbors are seeing some fling slugs last night. Yeah, they may have here and there. When they really pissed me off, I would do that, and then sometimes I would find one and be like, damn it, and just toss one. Usually I would actually carry them out and put them on the plants out there and go, okay, go eat some of those other plants out there. Just the weeds. Take care of those. You're more than welcome to those, but not my plants. Oh, yeah. So that is it. That is all my stuff here. I have covered everything. So my plan from now on is, because my live streams haven't been as good on the weekends, so my plan has been to do my live streams on either Tuesdays, Wednesdays, I guess if the internet's not working, or Thursdays from now on, and keep my live streams on those days. And then keep my primary videos on Sundays. I might move that to Tuesday as well. Why not? But my plan, I think, is next week is to do, I've been wanting to do a live stream just going in depth and talking about all the different herbs that are good for gas, flatulence, farts, whatever you want to call them. Yes, because I've been eating lots of protein to try and work on some, keeping my muscle mass up. I have been having lots of problems with gas. So I've been looking into lots of different things to help keep the gas down. And so we'll be talking about that on my next live stream. And that will be next week. I'm just giving myself a little extra time to get some scripts done, because I'm trying to get a couple scripts done on turmeric, however you want to say it. But it's one of those ones that's fighting me on the research. So I've been looking for some other sources to try and get some different sources to try and get some more information on the turmeric, because I know there's more out there on it. But a lot of the history of turmeric and the mythology of it comes out of India, because that's where it originates, and it really didn't hit the West until the 1980s. So there really isn't that much available in the West on it. And still there isn't that much on it, even though it's been a really popular one of late. So I've been having a little bit of trouble finding really good quality information on it. So I've been trying to just take a little bit more time to research those ones a little bit more deeper. And my next video, otherwise, I got a bay leaf tea video, because one of my friends here on the channel, I can't remember whom, asked for a bay leaf tea video, and so I'm doing that. So my next video coming out after I talk about the herbs and spices for flatulence will be a video on bay leaf tea. Yeah. Creating a slug catapult. Yeah. Should just set up a trap where you put a leaf on there, and if they get on it, automatically sends them off. Oh, yeah, so that's the upcoming plan. So next Tuesday, as long as I don't have any internet problems, will be my next live stream. I don't think I have anything coming up next Tuesday. Where are we at? What day are we at now? Next Tuesday is going to be the 3rd. Yeah, at the moment I don't have anything listed on next Tuesday. So, yes, my plan is next Tuesday for my next live stream. And then we'll see, the week after that should be my bay leaf tea video. If you haven't yet, please go watch the videos about all of the sea moss. So I got those 2 sea moss videos out. If you haven't seen either one of those, please watch those or share them with your friends. Share the world of eccentric nature to others. Oh, lots of love to you guys. Thank you for showing up today. Really appreciate you guys being here and keeping me company and learning all about my garden. I will catch you guys again soon. Yeah, that's all I got. Lots of love. Take care. Have a great day. Have a great week. I am gone.